Okay, so today we are going to discuss the assignment 1 or painting. So as usual, we are going to have a few segments of the discussion. First, I'll introduce the assignment 1, talk about the requirements. Then I'll give you a quick demo of my solution. Then finally, I'll show you the resources available for start working for making your program, writing your code, and then we'll do some basic stuff. So we'll write a code from the scratch. So that can be your starter code or base for writing the future codes. So how to start from the scratch for WebGL and then build up your code. That's something we're going to look into today. Okay, so assignment 1 here. So painting, in the introduction, you can see sort of this animated screenshot that shows you what you need to do. So this is basically a paint program, but for our assignment 0, we didn't use any WebGL. It was just canvas and some 2D predefined function. This is the first time we are going to use WebGL. We are going to draw some shapes using WebGL. They are still going to be 2D. We're not going to do any 3D this time, but you'll see the 3D component will be there, which will make 0 just to force the visualization to be 2D. The reason is our drawing mode or our drawing shapes are 2D objects, squares, triangles, and circles. So what is the idea of this paint? So you'll have this canvas, this black canvas, presumably 400 by 400. You can have larger one. Then you can select your drawing mode or what kind of shape you want to draw. Once you select that, you can drag your mouse on the screen and you can draw that shape. And then you can change the color of the shape. So in computer graphics, all the colors, at least on the display devices, the colors are a combination of red, green, and blue. So RGB color model is the one they follow on the display devices. So you can select the component of RGB and make different colors, combining the red, green, and blue. So that's why we have this slider here doing. So select the color or color of the shape. Then the size of the shape. So you can have a smaller shape or larger shape. That is something you can define using this slider here. So that is shape size. And then this is exclusively for circles. You have this segment count. So in WebGL or OpenGL, most of the things are drawn using triangles, right? So if this is if you want to draw a square, that is actually 2 triangles, right? Eventually you'll see that if you want to draw a circle, that is a bunch of triangles. So if you have more segment for the circle, the triangle will be smoother, right? The circle will be smoother. There will be more triangles, but as you can see, the edge of the circle that will look smoother because there will be more triangles, right? If you have less triangles, it will look like this rough edge of the circle. So we want to increase or decrease the segment, the number of the segments we want to use for the circle. So that is something we can define. And so these are the basic features that you need to get if you want to get a B, but there are other requirements that we'll see later. So the nice thing about these assignments are they are sort of well defined after years of polishing and improving. Now they're much better shape. So if you follow the instructions, you can actually know how many points you're going to get for completing each of these steps. So this rubric is nice. This gives you a very nice idea about what you're going to get for your work that you're going to submit. So let's take a look at the grading criteria. So you need the paint program. That's the first thing. Then you learn how a brush shape of a paint program can be controlled. So basically we are drawing here by defining the drawing mode, we are deciding which shape of brush we're going to use. So then once the basic requirements are done, we can do some improvement to the program, right? So you can have a better paint program, and then you can have a simple game of your own design. So all these things, they are mostly for the last requirement, which is this awesomeness, right? So this awesomeness is deliberately underdefined. It is not defined what you need to do. You need to come up with your own idea. Practically, starting from the assignment 2, everything is your own idea, right? It will not be defined. You will create your own world. So this is sort of giving you the flavor what is coming up next. So 1.5 points, that is for this awesomeness or adding your own unique idea into the basic requirements. So let's take a quick look at the instructions. So there is a nice thing about this one. So Professor Davis actually have his tutorial, which is given as a YouTube playlist. I also added the lab section from Fall 20, which was primarily delivered by Lucas. But I feel that it was a bit longer than required. I will try to make it shorter, and you'll see our today's lab session segmented in small videos, and also the full video here soon, hopefully by the end of the day today. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the instructions. So the first thing is have an HTML page with a canvas to draw on. So this is practically you're going to use a code from the book. So where do you get the code? So if you have a copy of the book, you have the code already in the book. But my recommendation is always try to download the full example zip file from the book web page. So let's search for the book. So this is the Google site for the book, and if you go to the home page, they have examples from all the chapters. I always recommend download all examples, and then you'll have a zip file that will be named examples.zip. Inside that zip file, you'll have all the chapters plus the library. So this library is the one we're going to use for most of our work. So coming back to the first instruction, and also I want to have a quick look at the chat. Okay, so someone was asking for the book link, and someone added that. Thank you so much. But also you can always search for WebGL and then Matsudalia. If these 3 keywords always gives you the first hit as the link. But yeah, let me double check if the link is, yeah. Okay. So if you go to the link, download all examples. If you go there will be this download, then click here. And if you see, if you're stuck in this page saying redirecting you to this, then I would say copy this link and then use this link directly. So let me actually put that link on the chat. Okay, so the first thing is you are going to read the book through HelloPoint 1.javascript, and then watch video for 1.1. So which video is that? This video is actually the instructional video from the professor. So the professor has this playlist here where all the instruction for all the steps are given. This YouTube ads. Need to figure out a way to stop the ads. Anyway, so if you go to the examples, you'll see in chapter 2, the hello point 1 is already there. So what you can do, you can copy this source code and then go back to the directory where you are working. For example, this is my lab 1. Then I can paste it here and see if I can run this. So again, this is not like a requirement, right? So this is just to make sure that you can run the code or you can see what is happening in this code. So now you can see the code is not running. So the first thing we need to do is go to the console or inspect, which I used the shortcut key, but you can also go to the inspect. It will give you the same thing. If you go to the console, you'll see failed to load resources. So actually in this HTML page, if you open this with your favorite text editor, which is going to be Atom for my case, we're going to use that for the rest of the coding. So you'll see it's trying to load these 4 files. And we only have the last one, the hello.js here. The rest of the files, they're missing, right? So that's why we have 3 file not found error. So why is that? Because we don't have the lib, the library files. So I'm going back to the examples and then I'm copying this library file. So even though we have this all 4, and the first one you already modified for your assignment 0, you created your own matrix. Still, I'm going to copy the whole directory and then paste it here. Still, it's not going to solve our problem. If I try to refresh, you'll see still have the same error because the path is not correct. So in the book example folder, we had the library was 1 step up in the directory tree. So I'm removing that to make sure the library is in the same directory where my source code is, and saving this. And now if I try to run the code, you can see we have this point, right? So this was the first step. And then the second step was again reading through this page 66, chapter 2, and there is this colored point.js, and grab the example code and then run this. So for each of these steps, you'll get 3 points. So let me do that first. I'm going to the example, and then if I go to the chapter 2, and then I need the colored point.js. Again, I'm going to go to the colored point and copying both of the files, the HTML and the JS. Then going back to week 2, lab 1. Okay, so by now I have already the library folder here, the lib, but still I need to fix the structure here, right? So if I try to run this now, it will not work again with the same issue of file not found. So what I need to do is I need to change the path. So this is my color point. If I fix this, then try to run it again. Now it works. So I'll let you read through what exactly is happening with this code. But if I give you a quick demo, you'll see this is pretty much giving you the mouse functionality. So if you click on the screen, it draws randomly colored points, right? If you drag, it doesn't work because we didn't implement the drag functionality. But this dragging is going to be an important feature for this, right? So you can see the shapes are drawn by dragging the mouse. But at least if you understand the code here, you'll see mouse interaction with the canvas, right? So this is a good place to start. So then if you follow with the instructions and the videos, you should be able to implement the rest of the steps. So what is the purpose for step 3? Organizing your code. So we'll do some of this stuff. You can write all your code in the same function. That will work, but we don't want to do that. We want to have this setup WebGL and then connect variables to GLS also. These functions, which is also a requirement. So this function will organize your code better. Okay. So you have points for step 3. I believe one more point for creating the function. Then eventually you'll need to have a button to draw triangles. Eventually you have HTML sliders. That's the first thing for choosing the RGB color point to paint. And then another HTML slider for the shape size. Then single variable which contains list of all the shapes that need to be drawn. At this point, you'll need a class that will contain the information for the point. Right. So similar to assignment 0, we have to create a class and then a button to clear the canvas. Then draw a shape when the mouse is held down and there is mouse motion, similar to the last example we saw. Have a button to draw triangle, have a button to draw circles, and another shape is the squares. Okay. Finally, have a slider to determine the number of segments in the circle, and then the awesomeness. So what I'm going to do, in order to show you the functionality or what you need to submit, I'm going to show you my solution for the code. So this is the canvas I have here, 400 by 400 canvas, and I have this clear canvas button. Then I have this drawing mode. If I select squares and then try to draw on the screen, you'll see it draws this square, right? And if I select triangle and then let's change the color. Right now the color is not defined. So let me select maybe green. And if I select, oops, red is also not defined. So it should be green now. Then this is a triangle, right? This is the shape of the triangle. We can always change the shape using this slider. We can have larger triangles and even larger. And we can have different color, maybe a combination of 2 colors. Right, so this is more blue. If we combine blue and green, we have something like this. Okay, so changing the segment count, right? So let's start with, so for this one, for a circle, how do we draw a circle? So a circle is, if we have only 3 segments, the circle is just a triangle, right? Like this. Let's change the color. So this is a circle, even though it doesn't look like a circle. So if we increase the segment count, it will look more like a circle. Oh, we didn't select the circle. So we have to select the circle, first reduce the size, then have a smaller segment. You can see this is a circle, but if you have a more segments, the circle will be more realistic. So this is still rough, more like a hexagon, but still we are going towards circle. So initially we had 3 segments. So the circle was like a triangle. Now we have 6 segments. So the circle looked like a hexagon, right? So if we increase the number of segments, so I think I have my highest number of segments as 25. So then we'll have more smoother circle, right? So now the circle is much more smoother. Maybe change the color. So yes, that's what this bracket, the circle in the bracket means. So the segment count is only going to work for circle. For other shapes, it will have no effect, right? Because it's obvious. So the circle can have segments, but the triangles, it is always going to be a triangle, and the square always going to be a square. So this is more like the demo. And any question about this?